you love your sports card. In fact, you've spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on your cards. In many cases, your sports cards are the most valuable thing you own, which is why when someone like me comes on YouTube and says, your sports cards aren't worth what you think they're worth, you get mad. But don't shoot the messenger. Welcome to EDI Sports Show. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to the show. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and a great new year. Hopefully you have your New Year's resolutions for 2025, and this week we're going to actually go over a very important topic. That's what this show is going to be about in 2025. I've been trying to figure out over the last few weeks, again, yes, my vacation, and sometimes you need to take a break so that you can really come back and go, what do I want to say? What do I want this channel to be about? And that's the answer, is I want this channel to be about truth, honesty, and things that help the sports card hobby. You can't keep spending $20,000 and getting $6,000 back and go, I'm doing well. That's a gambling mindset. When you literally ignore all your losses and you only highlight the wins. Here's the story that I want to tell you. I was talking to somebody on Reddit and they were trying to sell their collection. They inherited it from their dad and they were basically like, look, I have all these cards. And they showed, a few really great cards, like a few Manals, some Mazes and some Aarons. And I was like, okay, I'm interested. How much are you asking? And the guy's like, well, I'm asking $9,000, to which I'm like, okay, $9,000. Can you show me the most valuable cards then? And the guy's like, I've already shown you the most valuable cards. And I'm like, but those cards are only worth a few $100s each. And that's where a lot of you are getting yourself stuck. What is your collection actually worth? Like, is it worth the thousands of dollars that you think it is? So this is what I thought I would do. Why don't I simulate what you guys do with your collections, all right? So I'm gonna bring up a box. I put a whole bunch of stuff together. Let's say I'm selling this collection, okay? So here we go. Let's bring it up, okay? So the way that most of you have your collections is you do it exactly this way. So this is going to be the most valuable box. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside for right now because we're going to go through what those cards are worth. But I want to just show you kind of like how I see all of your collections online. And maybe you see this as well. So you've got a whole bunch of random stuff that you have in cases or in boxes. So these are all Nestle from the 1980s. These are basically Mark McGuire's and Tony Gwynn's. There might be one other superstar in there. Okay, these are all AAA All-Stars. There's a bunch of players in here. Again, Hall of Famers. Here's another one, AAA. This is from the 1988 set. That is Mike Devereaux. Again, there's some other Hall of Famers in there as well. Here's a whole bunch of hockey cards. Again, random. Wally Joyner rookies. Here's a couple cellos. So here's that. Here's a Jim Abbott, Fernando Valenzuela rookie on a cello. Here's a whole bunch of Mark Recchi rookies. That's in the French. This is more hockey. There's a Ray Bork. Era, the 90 era. So that's 90 Skybox. Here's an Al Leiter rookie. Well, actually, that's an error. That was signed by Leiter. Here's a Trey Young. Here's a Jacob deGrom. A bunch of Fred McGriff rookie. Got another box. So what's in here? Oh, these are 91 stars. Rock Reigns from the 91 set. So a whole bunch of stars from the 91 set. I've got a 85 Topps traded set. I got two of those. 4 86 Topps traded sets. So those are the Barry Bonds rookie, Jose Canseco, Bo Jackson rookie in there. There's two of those error Eddie Murray card. And when I say error is because they stopped printing these. So one has the box and one doesn't have the box, which is, I'm like, how did they do that on the same print run? I have no idea. Just so you know that back in the 80s, everything was manipulated. You got a Tom Glavine rookie, 81. This is a rack pack from 81. And then I've got one more box in here, and this is some older cards. Okay, so we've got the most valuable cards in this box. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up, all right? We're gonna reveal, again, when you have your collections, you already have your most valuable stuff separated out. I know you do, because that's what you do. I mean, you separate out the most valuable stuff. So let's take a look at these cards. Again, this is a simulation. We are pretending like you're selling your cards, okay? So here we go. We've got now that we know that these are the most valuable cards, this is how you need to start pricing out your collection, is you need to know how much these cards are worth in order to know what you should price your collection at. And so the first thing that you want to know is, do you want to sell everything as a bulk deal, which means that you're going to lower the amount of money you can get, or do you just want to sell your most valuable stuff as a lot? Now, the reason that I say that is because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold on, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards here. So if you sell 13 cards, it is reasonable, if you sell all 13 at once, it is reasonable to ask 80% of comps. The reason why it's reasonable to ask that is because it's only 13 cards. Anybody that's trying to deal with you knows, well, it's 13. I'm not going to spend months and months and months selling that. It's 13 cards. If you're a dealer and you know what you're doing, you should be able to sell this within a couple months if you know what you're doing. Therefore, you should be able to price these out relatively, one, quickly, and two, you should be able to get 80% of comps from a dealer on this deal. So what are these cards worth? Well, let's do the research. Now what you want to do is you want to go to eBay, or you want to go to 130 Point or SportsCard Pro, and you want to price these cards out yourself. But I've already done all the homework, and so here you go. You can see we're going to do from oldest to youngest in terms of cards. So the first one is the Duke Snider. So this card is worth $250, okay? Then the next one, the Frank Robinson, this one is worth $40, okay? Then we go to the Mickey Mantle, and this one is worth $500. Next on the list, the Carl Yastrzemski. This is worth $175. Okay, let's keep going down the list. So the Pete Rose second year, that's $100. The Steve Carlton rookie is $200. The Nolan Ryan rookie is $700. The Johnny Bench is $130. The Rod Carew second year is worth $35. Carlton Fisk rookie is only worth $20. I know, he's sort of like a rookie. Hall of Fame rookie is only worth $20. But again, these are ungraded cards. The Mike Schmidt rookie is worth $200. The Louis Tiant 76, I'm sorry, that was a 76, not a 75, is only worth $3. And then the 1975 George Brett rookie is worth $130. So as you can see, all of those cards come together and they're worth a total, 13 cards, a total of $2,483. And you know that that's actually what they're worth because you've done the homework. There's no guesswork. There's no, oh, I think it could be worth more, or I think it could be worth less. This is what it's actually worth. This is what the cards sell for, based on comps, based on recent sales, based on this is what the cards sell for. So this lot of 13 cards, if you put them back in this box would be worth $2,483, which means it would be reasonable to ask for $2,000 for this whole lot. And what I want everybody to understand is when you sell to a dealer, okay, so this is the key. This whole lot is worth $2,483. That's if you sell each card individually. And if you want all $2,400, then you better sell them yourself. So here's my assignment for you. This is how you're going to save yourself $1,000 this year if you do this. The minute you go to a dealer, you have to take a discount. I'm sorry, I know that bothers you, but you have to take a discount because you're trading time for money. And when you do that, you have to give the other person some level of, I'm going to work to make some money. They're going to make, let's say, $500 on this deal. That's not a lot of money when you think about it. It's not a lot. And so I want everybody to understand that when you do these kinds of lots where there's 13 cards, these are all great cards. I mean, they're all rookies mainly, like they're really valuable cards. $2,400 worth of cards. But you can only ask for $2,000. You can't really ask for more than that because no one is going to pay that if they're trying to sell them. Now, again, if you want to get the full value, then you need to sell them yourself. If you sell them with a consignor, like if I send these 13 cards to a consignor, I'm going to get less than $2,000. Hopefully that's making sense. I don't know if it is, but if you send it to a consignor, they might get $2,400. Okay, so that's the max. They're going to get $2,400. Then you take off eBay fees. That's 15%. Then you take off the consignor fees. You're going to get what? $1,500? My point being is that you would have gotten more if you just sold it yourself to a dealer and you knew what the cards were worth, $2,400, and you took $2,000. If you want the most value, you sell them yourself. If you don't care and you want to trade time for money, then you can sell them to a dealer directly. That's probably your best bet, is to sell them directly to a dealer. You're going to lose more money if you sell them with a consignor. That's just the way it is, because you got to pay the consignor. You also got to pay the eBay fees. You're just not going to get as much money. And if you think that you are going to get more money, you're really setting yourself up for disappointment. And I don't want you to do that. I don't know what else to do other than to do these shows to try to help people get out of the mindset that you are being told what the cards are worth instead of doing your own research, instead of doing your own pricing. Again, I've shown you in weeks past how to actually do pricing. Go and look at the sales yourself. Don't rely on these apps. Don't rely on sports card investors. Don't rely on influencers. Stop relying on other people to tell you what you need to know. Do the work yourself. Do the homework. Do the research. Stop being a fool. If you want to know what your cards are worth, go and look it up. And you have to look at sold prices. Don't look at eBay and go look at what all the people are selling cards for, because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of scams on eBay, way more than I've ever seen in my life. Like 2025 is going to be the year of the scam. You are going to get screwed left and right, and you better be careful because you're going to lose all your money. So that's why I hope people subscribe. I want you to be a better collector. I want you to be a serious collector. I want you to be a smart collector. I also don't want you to lose your shirt. And I know I've said that before, but I mean it. I don't want you to lose all your money. What's the best advice that I can give you in 2025? Well, now's the time to hold on to your money because the sports card hobby is going to go down. And the reason that I'm telling you that is because the economy is going to go down. Now, I know I've been saying that for probably 3 months already. Oh, the economy is going to go down, the economy is going to go down, and nothing's gone down. Yeah, I can't predict when it's going to happen. That's the unfortunate part. But I know it's coming. Like, I can tell you with 100% certainty, the economy has to go down. And the reason why is because you can't have a bull market for 20 years. That's just not possible. It has to correct at some point. And now's the best time, because now that Trump has won the election, and whether you are on the right side or the left side of politics, it doesn't matter. Trump won the election. And because he won the election, the media now has no incentive to lie about the economy anymore. And that's part of the thing, like, well, wait a minute. So the media had an incentive to lie about the economy before? Yes. That's exactly what they were doing. They were lying about the economy. And so now that they don't have the incentive to lie, it's not like they're going to tell the truth. Like, they're not turning over a new leaf. They're not going to tell the truth, but they're not going to hide stories anymore that tell you more than you would have known before. And one of those is that people just don't have any money anymore. And that's going to affect the sports card hobby, because if people don't have extra money, they're not going to spend it on cards. Now, the other problem that you probably already know is that everybody's buying breaks and everybody's buying wax. And that's also where all the excess money's going. And I've done a whole bunch of comparisons on how much wax has been overpriced. Forget inflation. Again, forget inflation. I'm just talking massive overpricing of wax, which means that if you buy a wax box, you are literally throwing your money away. Just don't buy anything right now. Hold on to your cash. Try to do some real investments and make some money, so that when the sports card market hits the next bottom, which I don't know where that's going to be, because I think with the number of eyeballs that are on the hobby, and again, for everybody that's trying to understand, like, was the hobby better back then, or was it better today? And I've been in this hobby for more than 40 years. So I'm going to tell you some truths. The hobby was not better back in the 80s and the 90s. In fact, it was probably way worse than it is today. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe, because they're like, everything in the past is nostalgic and great, and like, oh my God, everything's wonderful. No, when I was 13 years old, that's when I started as a sports card dealer. Okay, that was in the 80s. And to tell you the number of adults who are all baby boomers, okay, so these are your senior citizens now. They're the ones that are giving away all their cards to their kids, their grandkids, and their nieces and nephews. This is the great transfer. And so you're getting cards from all these baby boomers. Now, what I want you to know is those same baby boomers were real jerks when they were younger. Because when they looked at a kid like me, I was 13 years old. I was behind the dealer table. I was selling cards. Every single adult, again, these baby boomers, was trying to screw me over. They were trying to rip me off. They were trying to lie to me. They were trying to steal my cards. Every single one of them. There were no good baby boomers. None. There were no noble characters. There were no honest people. So the hobby back then was about crooks, scams, and baby boomers trying to screw everyone so that they could get what they want. Because unfortunately, whether you know this or not, but the baby boom generation should be called the narcissist generation, because it's all about me. Now, they've grown up and they've died off, and they don't know what to do with their cards, because they don't know what to do with their cards. So they're just giving them away to their family who don't want them at all, because they're just not worth as much money as you think they are. And that's the point. That's why I was talking to this guy on Reddit, because I was like, oh, those are interesting cards. Here's my advice. All right. So if you're trying to sell your cards, you're better off selling them in smaller lots, because the smaller the lot, again, the more curated a lot, you can ask for more percentage, from a discount. When you watch all of the YouTube videos, when you watch Chasing Cardboard, when you watch the Sports Card Investor, when you watch any one of these guys, even Card Collector 2, I want you to notice how many cards are not that valuable. We're talking anywhere from $5 to around $50. They're not that expensive. So when you think about it, how much would you really spend on 10 cards that are worth $20. Would you spend $200? Or would you want, if I'm going to buy 10 cards, I'd like a discount. When you're the buyer and you go and buy 10 cards, let's say they're all worth 20, do you really want to pay $200? Do you want to pay full price? Or would you like, just for consideration, hey, look, I'm going to take 10 of these cards. I'm going to take 10 of your inventory. What kind of discount can you give me? And you're going to expect at least a 10% discount. $200 worth of cards, I want it at least for $190. And you'd hope for $180, which means you'd be buying 9 cards and you're getting the 10th one free. Because remember, they're only worth $20 each. See, this is the point. And when you start giving cards away, that's what the dealer has to have in the back of his mind, his math, which is, well, how much did I pay for those cards? And if you're getting one card for free, how much do you think he paid for them? That's my point. He probably only paid $100 for those 10 cards. So he paid 50% and he's making $80 on the deal. So you're still getting one card for free. He's making $80 and everybody's happy. And that's my point. I want you to start realizing, as the collector, as the person that's starting to put all these cards together, you're starting to spend all this money. So when you look at it, be honest with yourself. And if you really want, please DM me. I will help you figure out how much your collection is actually worth. And I'll tell you the truth. I'll just be like, look, I don't see this. I don't see it. It's too big. It's too bulky. You got too many cards. What are your most expensive cards? And then you can get a general sense of how much you can actually, charge for this collection. Stop listening to people telling you what you want to hear. Listen to people who will tell you the honest truth. Telling you the honest truth. Now, I've already said I have $10,000 to spend this year. I have spent $0 so far. And I know that's probably a shock because everybody's like, oh, well, you're going to spend all this money and la, 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 la. I've just told you right now, hold on to your cash. So I'm looking at deals going, look, yeah, you can charge whatever you want to charge, but you're not getting my cash. And if you want my money more than you want your cards, then we need to have a real conversation. So here's my assignment for you. This is how you're going to save yourself $1,000 this year if you do this. So here we go. What I want you to do is I want you to start adding up how much money you've spent on cards. Yeah, I really do. Make a spreadsheet or just keep a piece of paper and start putting down how much money did you spend on wax. Go ahead, add it all up. Look at the receipts from Walmart. Look at the receipts from Target. If you don't have those receipts, just go to your credit card bill and look at all the amount of money you've spent at Walmart and Target and your local card shop. Figure out how much money you've spent and add it all up. What did you spend last year? $1,000, $2,000, $8,000. I know some people that spent $20,000 last year on sports cards. Now I want you to go and take a look at all your expensive cards that you got from all that wax, okay? I want you to take a look at it, and then I want you to put it aside and make piles because you know what cards are worth. So put them all down and then count up how many really good cards you got from all that. What is it, 20, 30, 40 cards out of all of that money? So if you spent $20,000 and you got 50 valuable cards, now how much are those 50 cards worth? And that's the point. Point is you spent $20,000 on wax and on breaks and on buying all these collections, and you have maybe $5,000 to $6,000 to show for it. I'm not saying that you don't have anything of value. What I'm saying is you spent way more money than you got in return, and that's the problem. You can't do this long term. You can't keep spending $20,000 and getting $6,000 back and go, I'm doing well. That's a gambling mindset. When you literally ignore all your losses and you only highlight the wins. That's what a gambling addict does. A gambling addict only talks about the time they won. They don't talk about the 99 times they lost. So when a gambler goes to Las Vegas, they've lost $99,000 for the year, and the one time they won 10 grand. And the only story you hear is I went to Vegas and I won $10,000. But they don't tell you that they lost $99,000 for the year. Folks, start being more honest with yourself. I don't know what to do to get you out of the gambling addiction. It's bad. Now it's time for the viewer comments. If you've never made a comment before on this channel, now is your time. I pick out highlights all the time. If you want to be highlighted, put your comment down below. This one, first one is from Furious Weasel 09. I love the straight talk on this channel, no hype. I want to thank you so much, Furious Weasel. Again, great YouTube name. I try to be as honest as possible, which means that sometimes I do get things wrong. And that's actually the whole point, is that I'm not like anybody else on YouTube who wants to tell you I'm always right. In fact, that's not true. I'm not always right. But I do know when I'm wrong. And that's the biggest thing that you need to be aware of, is you can listen to me and trust me, because if you push back and you're right, I'm going to say you're right. And that's the point. If you push back and I keep coming back at you with, well, that doesn't make any sense, or that doesn't, then you should be asking yourself the question, what am I getting wrong? Because this is a person who actually looks at it and says, maybe I'm wrong. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better sense of trust with me. But the second comment, this is from Jack Emerson. There we go. Jack Emerson, 1171. On-card Hall of Fame autos is the only modern cards worth anything. I want to say this. So great comment, first of all. Not going to agree with that. What I'm going to say is this. So I'm not going to disagree with it either. Here's what I'm going to say. Yes, on-card autos for Hall of Famers, especially Hall of Famers that are no longer with us, are going to be worth money. Yes, there is value there. I'm not going to say they're the most valuable cards, because that's not true, but they are more valuable than just common cards, and they are more valuable than just maybe just regular cards of other players. Like if you have an on-card auto of a Mickey Mantle, and I do, I have a 53 on-card auto of a Mickey Mantle, that's worth more than the 53 card itself. It's just the way it is, because Mickey Mantle's no longer with us. It's an on-card auto. He didn't sign that many cards because athletes didn't sign a lot of cards back then. So the fact that there's not that many, and I have it, and I did go get it graded or authenticated with a PSA because of the fact that it was an on-card auto, and people need to know that it's a real autograph. You can't just have an ungraded auto on card. So I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, that's the real need for authentication. I'm just going to say that. If you want to know why we need grading, that's the reason why we need grading. We need grading to authenticate autographs. That's it. We don't need grading for cards. We just don't need it. You don't need it. I don't need it. Nobody needs it. But you do need authentication for autographs. And so PSA is literally the best in the world in terms of authenticating autographs. It is what it is. That's a fact. And I want to be very clear and concise on that I don't like PSA when it comes to grading regular cards, because I think it's all a bunch of internal policies that they do to upcharge you. Like, their incentive is to charge you as much money as they possibly can to put your card in their slab. I think that's bad. I think that's bad for you. I think it's bad for the hobby. It's obviously not bad for PSA. They make a fortune off of you. But when it comes to authenticating autographs, it's a necessity. It just is what it is, and they're the best in the business. So that's a fact. Anyway, let's get to the next comment. So this is from Tim K, 1976. He says, I totally agree with you about the Pete Rose rookie card. And in the last episode that I did of 2024, I talked about that I don't own a 1963 Pete Rose rookie. And the reason is because I don't like the four heads. It's not aesthetically pleasing to me. And the card is also just way too expensive. So why would I pay for a card that I don't like to just put it in my collection? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you might want it because you just want all rookies. Again, I want you to start questioning that philosophy. Is why are you collecting only rookies? Like, why is your collection just a rookie collection? What makes you think that that's what you want? And if you come back with, well, that's what I want to collect, then that's the answer. I mean, you don't have to justify it, but I just want you to really think about it. Why am I collecting the cards that I collect? Why? Because if you have an answer to this is why I do it, it doesn't need to be a good answer. Like, nothing you collect needs to have, like, you know, a dissertation as to, well, this is why, and it's, well, this and that. It doesn't need to be that complicated. If you just say, I collect this because I like to collect it, there you go. I mean, that's it. It's your collection. This should be personal to you. If you only collect a certain team, I'm hoping that's because you like that team. Like, if you only collect Minnesota Vikings cards, then I'm hoping that you're a Vikings fan. You know, if you only, like, there's a YouTuber, the Million Cubs Project. Like, he is a Chicago Cubs fan. Therefore, he only collects Chicago Cubs cards. Okay. I mean, there doesn't need to be any other reason other than that's what he collects. So if he has cards that are not Chicago Cubs, that's when I start to question, why are you collecting other cards, other players from other teams if you only collect Cubs players? Like, something's not, jiving there. So anyway, that's what you need to do. You need to figure out what you want to collect and then just stick to that. As long as you do that, you're going to enjoy the hobby a lot more. So I'm a Pete super fan. Well, that's awesome. Unfortunately, he's passed. So, and pretty much have his whole run of base cards. Well, that's a lot of cards because Pete Rose played for a long time. I will never buy his rookie card because I don't like it, so I don't need to have it. With the super expensive 50s and 60s rookie cards, I pick up the ones I can afford, but see nothing wrong with their second year card if the rookie is priced out of my price range. Now, so I'm going to push back a little bit as to, if you don't collect the rookies, then why are you collecting the second years? Just because that's the consolation prize? Like, stop chasing after the hobby. The hobby has a lot of myths. The hobby has a lot of narratives like, oh, these cards are worth the most, therefore you should buy them because they're worth the most. That's completely nonsense. Like, you shouldn't buy anything because someone else tells you to buy it. I don't tell people what to buy. What I do is I tell people, if you're going to buy this stuff, here's what you need to know. And that's a much different kind of take. Like, that's a different relationship between you and me on this channel. I'm not telling you what to buy, but if you tell me I want to buy X, I'm going to tell you, well, here's the pros and here's the cons. If you say on this channel with a comment, and people have made comments, I like buying wax. Okay, that's great, but you're probably going to get more value if you don't buy wax. And they're like, but no, I'm just going to hold it forever and let the price go up. Well, you're going to be surprised when the price doesn't go up. And that's all you need to know. It doesn't mean that you can't buy wax and hold it. Like, I have plenty of unopened wax. The reason that I have it is because I like decoration. Like, that's part of my aesthetic of my collection. I'm not keeping it because it's worth money. I'm keeping it because of the fact that I want things to display. Again, I have a background and I want wax in my background. So I'm holding on to some wax just so I have stuff in my background. That's it. Like, again, it doesn't need to be rocket science. You don't need to have a legitimate reason to do something other than just having a rationale. I keep wax because I want to keep wax in my background. End of story. I'd rather have wax boxes here than some of the, like again, all of those white boxes you see in the bottom. I've gotten rid of a ton. Like I used to have 100 of those boxes and I've gotten rid of all of them. And basically I'm down to, I guess there's 4 there. And I think I have in a closet, I think I have like 5 or 6 more boxes that still are full, but I keep trying to like get it down, pare it down. Like, can I consolidate this box into stuff that I can sell and get rid of it? Again, I'm selling, 50 cents on the dollar because it's bulk. It's just so much stuff that I'm trading time for money. So basically, here you go. Here you can have a box that's, let's say it's worth, and again, most of the stuff that's left is not worth a lot. My collection is now the most valuable thing that I own. I still have other stuff, like I have memorabilia, I have autographs, I have a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to get rid of. Like I have uncut sheets. Like I have a Mark McGwire uncut sheet from 1985. That's the Olympic card. It's a full uncut sheet. In fact, I have the whole set, the whole 1985 set uncut in a round 10. Like I have that. I don't know how to sell it because, I don't know. I have no idea how to sell it. And that's sort of the issue that I'm come down to, is the stuff that I have is so unique and it's only, a niche market. Like not everybody wants uncut sheets. Only a specific type of collector would want the entire set in uncut sheets. And that's the issue, is like, who wants that stuff? So that's my point, is that you need to decide when you're a collector, what do you want to collect, how much money do you want to spend, and why are you collecting it? Those are the 3 questions that you should be answering for yourself, just so that you stay in the hobby for the long term and not get disappointed and dismayed and disillusioned by every scam that comes out here. There's going to be a ton of scams in 2025. You're not even going to believe it. Like there's going to be more scams than you've ever seen before. But if you want to not get disillusioned with this hobby, that's my best advice. So anyway, that's all for the show this week. I'll be back next week. If you have a comment, put it down below. If you have a suggestion for a new show topic, please let me know as well. You can always contact me on X or on IG. I do check both. I don't check it every day, so if you do send me a message and I don't check it immediately, just know that I don't check it every day. But you can DM me if you want and you want to talk sports cards or sports. I'm always open to it. Anyway, this is Doc saying, have a great week.